We're going to continue looking at this surface and editing the surface, and I want to make sure that we understand a few things about this middle ordinate idea when we went and created the surface. So first thing I want to do is let's turn on the triangles again. So that's the one that has for editing. We'll say OK to that so we can see the triangles. And that also has these red points, and I'm going to turn those points off just for this example because they're kind of getting in the way. So we'll go back to the surface properties, and this editing surface style includes the points. So I click on the display, and I'm just going to turn those points off right now and only show the triangles and the contours. So now we have this the surface, and again we talked about this extraneous information. I'm going to change one more thing here just to make sure that we've got a decent view of what we're trying to accomplish here. And I'm going to make this hidden 8. It's going to be should be fairly tight, but more of a dash line. So the triangles are dashed, and so we can see from those dashes there's some extraneous information. It's interpolated on the outside that is not very accurate, so we want to make it as accurate as possible. And when I move this in here, then I do a regen there, and those extraneous lines go away. So here's another extraneous line right through here. Again, it's bypassing this point. And so we need to continually add, and I'm going to add a vertex here and bring it right in pretty close to this guy here, and that line goes away. But there's another, actually one more of them here, and I'm going to again add a vertex to kind of clean that up. And so that mid-ordinate idea, where that stems from is, we're going to do a little example off to the side, and where that stems from is when we use curves on, I'll say 100. I'm just going to do a quick little 105 or something like that, and then I'm going to do an arc around here, and 106. I'm going to switch back to a line, and I'm going to come out here and I'm going to say 110. So and then I want to put one more feature line in there just for added definition here. I'm just going to go from the nearest here, accept its elevation, and I'll say 103, and probably just come right back to this line here at 100 and close. And I'm going to make a new surface out of this. So what I want to do is I want to go to surfaces, create a surface, just temp. For right now, we'll just call it a temp surface. We can set these styles right off the bat here. We're going to do the editing one. And now we've created this secondary surface. We have this OG. We're not goofing up. But we want to go to this temporary surface, and we want to add these two break lines that are already selected into our surface here. And so I'm going to leave that as a mid-ordinate of 1, and we'll see what happens. As we come across here, it's not giving a very smooth surface around this arc. And so that can be a little bit problematic. So if we take a distance from from basically here to here, it says it's 0.97, but that's that 1 foot. That's that 1 foot middle ordinance distance that it's creating here to get around this curve. But again, it doesn't make it very clean. So what we can do is, to kind of demonstrate this, is we'll scoot this up and we'll remove this break line set. and start over again for this surface. Oop, I need to do an undo there because I did that to OG. Oh, no, I didn't. I need to, once again, I need to get into the break lines for temp and delete that. I apologize for that. Okay. The reason it's not updating is because I forgot to turn on the automatic rebuild, and in fact now it's a surface, but it has no data with it. So once again, we're going to go into break lines. We'll add this, and we'll say 0.2 for a mid-ordinate distance. And now the mid-ordinate distance is here, but what it did is it started coming around this a little bit smoother around this arc. So once again, we'll delete that and take a look at even a closer one and see how this changes our surface. Now we're going to go real tight and say 1/100th of a foot. And now you can see that this thing is when you do a regen, it's bringing that surface right around to the very edges of that arc. And that's kind of what we're looking for. And in fact, if we put another feature line in there, and we say somewhere around in here, we say 102, and let's just bring it to the end here, and accept its elevation, and then bring this into the fold, we'll start to see a little bit more of what's going on there. That's a straight line, so mid-ordinates doesn't play a part in it. So now what we have is this nice smooth arcing look as we come around this corner, and that's from that mid-ordinate distance. And a mid-ordinate distance is, of course, if you have an arc and you have a line, endpoint to endpoint, the mid-ordinate distance is going to be from the midpoint of this arc to the midpoint of the, the line to the midpoint of the arc. That's the distance right there. So when I keyed in 0.1 or 0.01, 100th, then it put all these additional points around this and made the surface very smooth. That's kind of what's going on there. So although it adds more complexity to the surface, it can make the surface much nicer and smoother. The other thing that we may notice is that the surface contours at a certain point have these little ticks to them. And what that means is that's a hole. It's like a pond. And so those are pointing in the downhill direction in just the contours that are closed, that close upon themselves. So whenever that happens, it shows us where those areas are of ponding. And those are settings again in the style. We can just select the surface, go to the surface and go look at it. And under contours, under contour depressions, we can say that we want the tick marks every 10 feet and we want these every half a foot long. And again, all this stuff is customizable through the styles. So those are smaller than smaller than they were before. If we don't want to show them at all, we just want to have a standard surface, we can go to display, and we can go to let's see, I thought directions, gridded, slope arrows. I guess it's not in there. What we'd have to do to turn that off is to go to contours and contour intervals, contour depressions, and turn them off here. Say false. when we say it there, then they all go away and everything's fine. Again, if we want to look at where this depression is, we can simply strike a line across here. We can right click, go to create profile and a quick profile. I'm going to edit this quick profile style. I want it a little bit different. I'm going to turn off most of these things that just kind of get in the way. Since we don't really care about the axes and the ticks and all the rest of it, we just care about the general look of things. And I'm just going to turn all these guys off. And it should just show the profile or the cross section itself. So vertical major. Okay. So when I use this now and I select here, it just shows me the cross section without it, the frames and all the rest of it. So as I cut through here, it's kind of showing what the cross section looks like. And in fact, if I come across here, there's going to look like there's two surfaces because it's missing in this area. So, and if I want to look at it in this direction, I can certainly do that. The direction from left to right here is based on the direction I drew the polyline. And so if I place this guy right here, and let's say this guy just shortly thereafter, you can see how it brings it up. But if I turn this whole thing around, then it's going to be the opposite direction, and that little nub's going to be on the left-hand side. So that's kind of how you utilize that. And once we're done with this quick profile cross, or the quick section, when we erase this line, then the quick section will go away automatically. If we want to leave that line for some reason, just erase the quick section, then only the quick section goes away. So that's what's going on there. We can also take a look at this surface in 3D by holding Shift key and using the mouse. Whoop. Let me get. Okay, and we're kind of looking at that bulbed area there. We can kind of see the lay of the land here on this. So here's our road surface that we have. We can kind of see the effects of that, and see our 3D line work. We see the curb line where those contours crawl up the curb and then across the sidewalk, so on and so forth. We want to get back to the normal plan view. We type in plan, enter, enter, and we're back.